Master Reddit, subscribe for more videos.
Women of Reddit, what's the most crazy girlfriend thing you've ever done? I made us on The Sims and made us have a bunch of kids. 1 month before giving birth to our actual son, jokingly made us in The Sims and they had a son. Who was taken away by CPS within like 5 minutes. Our real son is doing great though. I do this too. I make me and my boyfriend. I made us have 3 kids but I had this glitch where we were only having girls so I kept deleting them until she had a boy. I had to delete like 9 babies. Sims, China edition. I did this in primary school. I made all my crushes as I liked them and would kill off an old crush or I'd kill the crush if they were mean to me that day. I was a weird kid. Probably still weird as duck now tbh. I was hormonal and PMSing and so MBF brought me takeout from my favorite sub shop. I cried when I opened it because it was my favorite sub, but I didn't want my favorite, I wanted my second favorite sub. Searched photos liked by boyfriend's name on Facebook. I feel like this post just caused a lot of people a lot of trouble. I just did this for the first time and the only insight I have is just how much he likes when my family post pictures of our pets. This is the best thing. When I was 15 my boyfriend broke up with me so he could date another girl. I asked for a game back that I had loaned to him, and when I went to pick it up I dropped off a bunch of things that had been from our time together, including a little paper doily from homecoming that had our names on it. I'd burned off his half of it. In my defense, I was 15 and that seemed perfectly normal at the time. I call this the revenge box. You take all the shit during your time together. Mine included photos, his jacket, a cup he gave me with his name on it, a flower he picked for me, some CDs he burned for me, something he drew for me, put it in a box, and say here. I don't need this anymore. And give it back. Teenagehood. Lol. My ex didn't come home one too many times so I just snapped and ripped up all the photo of us and sprinkled the bits all over the bed and tore apart a little I love you teddy he gave me and left it on the bed to come home to. I felt like a crazy ditch the next day. And I've never actually admitted that to anyone. Edit, thank you for my first gold. Didn't think I'd get gold from being a crazy ditch. After I caught my boyfriend cheating, in the apartment we lived in together, I cut the crotch out of 2 pair of his favorite pants. When he put them on and saw what I had done, I told him I was trying to make life easier since he couldn't seem to keep it in his pants anyway. I was 20 at the time. Edit, wow, thanks for the gold and the support. A little embarrassing that my most upvoted comment is for acting crazy, but I'll take it. My friend's ex-wife, fiancé at the time. We took him out to the casino for his 25th birthday. He and his girl were having problems at the time, so she told him he could only stay out until 10 p.m. 9:30 rolls around and she starts calling him to remind him that he needs to head home. One of my friends takes birthday boy's phone and turns it off. This is when the shit hits the fan. She proceeded to start calling all of our phones non-stop. From one friend to another, constantly. Anyone who would answer their phone would be met with an instant put birthday boy on the phone, and a series of screamed profanities directed at the person who answered the phone. So, we all turned off our phones. At about 10:45 p.m. she then started calling my family and contacts of everyone who was out and screaming at them telling them how much of a piece of shit my friends were, for having birthday boy out on his birthday. So, to stop the madness we took birthday boy home. When we got him back to his condo his ex-wife had pulled all the bedding off the bed and sliced up the mattress and pillows in the master bedroom. Cut up and stabbed his clothes and left them in the backyard, with the sliding door to his living room wide open. Sliced and stabbed his less than 2-month-old couch in the living room. Smashed the glass in the pictures of them hanging up. Put his laptop in the kitchen sink and left the water running on the keyboard for us to find when we got to his house. She had left for her sister's place and is not there when we got there. We helped him clean up and lock his place up. He called a locksmith to rekey his place the next day. A week later she was moved back in with him. Oh man. So I can't say this is precisely a crazy girlfriend thing because we were just best friends and lovers for years, 2 to 3 at the time this story occurs, but I wanted to be. I started by internet stalking him. His MySpace, Facebook, his pictures, his friends, his notes, live journal, DeviantArt, he had a blog. I was convinced I was his dream girl and was determined to prove it. I was still casually dating though and had an OkCupid profile. He showed up on my list at a 95% match, my highest ever. I paid for A-list to be an invisible visitor and scoured his profile and its hundreds of answered questions. Read every book and watched every movie he mentioned. I actually ended up sincerely liking all of them, so silver lining. Casually started dropping them in conversation, among others so as not to tip him off. I befriended his partners and exes for inside information, another accidental sincerity as I'm still in contact with many of them, a decade later. I exclusively smoked his favorite brand of cigarettes and casually quoted his short stories, which I was fan-level familiar with. We got matching tattoos for my birthday one year and he has no idea I knew the tattoo he wanted a year before and started discussing my interests in a totally unrelated tattoo through that year. The matching tattoos were his idea by the time my birthday rolled around. Short version, it worked, but we aren't together. I do my damnedest to never be that type of person but the urge is still there. My fiancé and I had to work through it and ensure I hadn't done that to him. This was 10 years ago, and I still get the creeps at the thought of a guy doing that for me. Went through his phone and caught him cheating as a result. Not as crazy as some of the others on here, but it felt crazy to me because I am 100% not the type of person that does this. The funny thing is, he started cheating when I moved away for college. I suspected nothing, but his dad was a fucking bro and pulled me aside one weekend when I came to visit and told me he suspected he was cheating. Looked in the phone for proof and it turns out I had gone from girlfriend to the other woman to 3 different girls in the span of about 3 weeks. It was our 6-year anniversary when I found out and dumped him. Paid money to access my boyfriend's court records because my mom had somehow convinced me he was lying about a certain court case that involved his ex. It turns out he was actually telling the truth. I was only skeptical because he has been known to embellish stories to make them more entertaining. This was while we were broken up for about 2 weeks, and I feel guilty about it all the time for even doubting him. Edit: we were together for 2 years when we broke up, and shortly got back together as the breakup was due to stress from him. I'm still so ashamed of invading his privacy like that, but we are very happy and in a healthy place. I've never been overly jealous, so this was super out of character but a teeny part of me is glad I did because now I know not to doubt him. My cousin, we are both 22, likes looking up all the court records of every guy she's had a crush on since kindergarten. She'll frequently say things like "thank God I didn't date," insert name, from 2nd grade, he's gotten 6 parking tickets. Ducking monster. He sees a no parking sign and he can't resist. He's a bad boy. He didn't want to hang out that day so I took the train to his neighborhood. He brought his friends to the train station after their band rehearsal like he always did. He saw me walking around and I told him that I'd just like take walks in his area. It worked and I got to hang out with him because since I'm already there. I cringed just thinking about it because he definitively knew. But to be fair I was 13. Wouldn't do it again nowadays. I got broken up with. 4 months later was out drinking nearby. Phone him up and basically tell him, I'm on my way. He put up a small fight but in the end, begrudgingly agreed. So I stop at home, was not driving, put on my new floral dress and wedges. Really? I look nice. I then have a friend drop me off there. Oh, and I also had a huge bottle of vodka in my purse. Despite being very inebriated already, I continued taking straight shots from it. I wake up alone in his bed and walk downstairs. The amount of hate in his eyes startled me. He began to explain how I had tried to piss in his closet, and when confronted, I cried and declared, "You don't know what it's like to be a pretty woman." I left very swiftly after being told that. I don't remember most of the night, and never got the full story as he had virtually blocked me in every ways imaginable. I'm sorry, Matt. Ran behind his moving car, howling, in the middle of traffic. Edit: we were in the middle of a massive fight in the car, and called off the engagement and ended up in yelling and lots of tears. Asked him to drop me off right then and there, in the middle of the road, and opened the door of the moving car. He braked and let me out and I obviously slammed the door for the dramatic effect only to realize seconds later that my handbag with my phone and wallet were in the car. Hence, ran behind his moving car, howling, in the middle of traffic. I just realized I am not as stable as I pretend to be. My ex had a sore on his leg and I had some cream I wanted him to use that would heal it. But the cream was a weird color and he didn't want to put it on. I insisted that he should because it would literally heal it overnight, but he continuously refused and got annoyed. I finally snapped and started literally screaming at him to put the fucking cream on and broke down in tears running to my room like a 3-year-old. We broke up not long after for other unrelated issues. But yeah, not my proudest moment. Edit: this blew up. This was about 10 years ago and we broke up because we both had issues back then and have gone our very separate ways and are both married to separate humans. I chucked a tantrum like a child because there was communication barriers and struggled to get him to do anything. He refused because I was irrational over most things due to the frustration of our toxic relationship. The cream was some magical stuff that someone gave me that had some crazy name. Looked and smelled like tar, but it worked like a charm. No, it wasn't off. Good times smile. Found out my husband was cheating, went to his girlfriend's house with 2 trash bags of his shredded clothes, smashed cologne bottles inside, and a copy of our marriage certificate, and dropped it at her doorstep with a note saying, "Has your problem now, enjoy," with a PS, "The return policy is expired, you're stuck with him." Messaged the girl who slept with my fiancé, at the time, broke up a decade ago, in our bed on Facebook, and let her know that I knew what they were up to and that I found the video she sent him of her riding her hairbrush handle. He saved the video to my laptop. Like an idiot. She was a cunt about it, by the way. I contemplated leaking the video to workers at the daycare she worked at, but didn't want to deal with legal repercussions, and I ultimately decided neither of them were worth the hassle. I had met her a month prior when we were out with his friends. She shaked my hand and we ended up talking most of the evening, since the rest of the group were guys doing their own thing. She knew we were engaged. It wasn't a consensual open relationship, and we broke up soon after that, for a plethora of reasons. Found out my ex of 3 years had been cheating on me and had stolen money from my savings and my mother's safe jewelry to make presents to this other girl for months. Went out with my friends the following night. We all got a bit drunk and for some reason had to poop at the same time. We thought it was a good idea to poop on his car. So we walked to his house at 3 a.m. and we all left a little poop on different parts of the car. I am not proud. But I don't regret it either. I was dating this guy for about 2 years. He was moving away, and I was helping him pack. We'd agreed to break up. Well, I got into those moving boxes and managed to write an inspirational message on the inside of each one. Things like, "Are you tired of opening boxes? That's okay, you're doing great." It wasn't malicious or anything, but I tried way too hard to unexpectedly delight that guy. The cringe still eats me when I think about it. I dated a guy that was toxic as a person, not just as a partner. I knew he was already up to no good from the rumors, small town, but I had no proof, and the guy was a superb con artist when confronted. I had lent him an older phone I had spare from an upgrade after he'd wrecked his own. A few months down the timeline, things were getting worse. The gaslighting was at a whole new level amid I was trying to get out whilst preserving my sanity. He'd gotten a new phone and my burner one had long been returned. I was clearing its data before getting rid of it, signing out of old accounts and saving photos I wanted to keep. Opened up the email app to his account still logged in, and several conversations with admitted sex workers arranging meetings. I took the more creative opportunity. I forwarded the messages to myself and replied back to them, asking why he'd send me such disgusting exchanges. It was everything I needed to get out of it, the proof, the admitting of cheating, the direct conversations from him, and he couldn't flip it on me. I knew it was the crazy girlfriend thing to do, but 10 out of 10 I would do it again to remove myself from that dude. Live and learn. Edit. Thank you everyone for the support, praise, questions and gold. It was embarrassing at the time knowing I had let some creep get close enough to make me question my own worth. I am much better now and that dude is well and truly out of my life. Before now only my best mate knew this story. Thank God for that girl. She was planning a wedding at the time and I was ringing her up about my crazy, and God love her, she picked up the phone every time. Thank you everyone. X. To my ex, if you read this, you're a bad person. I burned his stuff and posted the picture of the fire on Facebook, then tagged him right in the center of the fire. Well, it's not really a crazy girlfriend because it was only a crush. I worked at a supermarket on the registers, and this guy who worked at the store next door came in at the same time, same day every week. I ended up having a crush on him, despite never actually talking to him. I went to the store he worked at one day, his shift was just ending and the next person was taking over for him. I asked his coworker what his name was and he told me. I ended up going on Facebook and typing in his first name, his workplace, and where we lived, and I found his profile. After looking through all his pictures and being a complete weirdo, I made a fake account to add him on. He's accepted. Long story short, that's how I found out he was gay. This just happened on Saturday night. We're long distance right now until May, and things are going super well, but I have awful anxiety. One of his friends from the new country was having a birthday party, so him and all their friends went out bar hopping that night. He made sure to tell me that he'd be out late and might not be able to text, so I was expecting it. But 4 hours passed, then 8, and I got so worried. I trust him completely, so I didn't think he was with a girl. But I was scared he'd been hurt in an accident, or gotten alcohol poisoning or something. 12 hours have now passed and I'm hysterical. I've been messaging him every hour or so. I really tried to hold in my crazy, "Hey, I hope you're having a great night, I miss you." The messages became increasingly panicked. "Hey, please will you let me know when you get home? I'm getting worried, haha." I mean, after just the 9-hour mark, I was mourning the loss of my best friend and partner. I was laying on my bed sobbing, willing him to message me, even just one word. I worried so much that my stomach hurt so bad I thought I'd throw up. And even though I trust him completely, of course depression and anxiety had to swoop in and say, "I mean, since you're not good enough anyway, why wouldn't he go home with a hot girl?" So I didn't know whether to think he was dead or be angry at him for cheating. I cried for hours because there was nothing I could do about the situation, and I just had to wait. Finally, 16 hours later, he messages me. He had turned his phone off to save the battery for the end of the night when he needed Google Maps, and knowing the way he operates, the battery probably was at 60% when he left anyway. Then they all went out to eat, then got super drunk, walked around town, and he came home and immediately passed out. I was so relieved to know he was okay, and we video chatted the next day, but I never told him how badly I worried because I felt so crazy. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button and comment below letting me know. It helps the channel and lets me create more content just like this. If you do like this type of content, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an upload.